This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to Born Wild, the show that takes you to the heart of wild India. It takes you up close and personal to some of India's most endangered animals and the people who help them fight for their survival. In today's episode, however, we're not taking you to wild India. Rather, we're taking a tour of India's zoos. We're visiting some of the zoos to ask one question. Are zoos a necessity? Are zoos just entertainment centers for you and me at the cost of the animals that they have in captivity? Or are they centers of awareness, centers of learning, centers of conservation that will help these very animals that they have in captivity later in the wild? So come with us to the zoos of India. These little monkeys here are marmosets. Marmosets are the smallest monkeys in the world and they're only found in South America. This group here was donated to the Alipur Zoo from the Indian Institute of Immunology, as they must have been research subjects in the lab. Marmosets around the world are used as research subjects in labs. Watching them cavorting around in this carefree manner makes me think of two things: their lives as subjects of experiments and now as objects of display. Or is there a bigger purpose to their being here in a zoo? Is this the only way I will ever get to see a marmoset and thereby learn more about them, and so protest and prevent them from becoming subjects of experiments and help their survival in the wild? This then is the question that Gargi and I aim to ask in our travels to the various zoos of India. Are zoos a necessity? What is their supposed role? Are they merely centers of entertainment at the expense of the animals in captivity? Or will they help ensure the survival of those very animals in the wild?
चिड़ियाघर जो है ये एक वाइल्ड लाइफ कंजर्वेशन सेंटर्स हैं, ये एक एक्स-सी2 कंजर्वेशन फैसिलिटीज़ हैं जहाँ पर जो जानवर जो विल्डरनेस में जिनकी पॉपुलेशन नंबर्स कम हो गए हैं उन जानवरों को हम यहाँ ला करके रखते हैं और इनको ब्रीड करते हैं। और अगर जंगल में कोई ऐसा एपिडेमिक आ जाए, कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ जाए जिससे कि वहाँ के नंबर्स कम हो जाएं, तो हम इन्हें रीइंट्रोड्यूस भी कर सकते हैं। एक तो ये, दूसरा इसके अलावा जो है ये जो जानवर हम यहाँ रख रहे हैं ये इसमें बहुत सारे एंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज़ हैं जिनकी पॉपुलेशन जो है वाइल्ड में या तो स्टैटिक है या डिक्लाइन कर रही है, तो इनको हम यहाँ पर जो है ब्रीड करते हैं और इनके नंबर इंक्रीज़ करते हैं और रीइंट्रोडक्शन प्रोग्राम्स में हम इनको जो है सॉफ्ट रिलीज़ बाद में कर सकते हैं।
But is this the only view? Although the Central Zoo Authority says there are about 300 zoos in the country, only 163 are recognized as proper zoos. Almost 100 zoos are not recognized and about 100 have been asked to shut down.
मुझे तो कुछ ठीक नहीं लगता। मुझको तो बेसिकली जानवरों को जब आप पिंजरों में रखते हैं वो अच्छा नहीं लगता है, शुरू से नहीं लगता है। आई थिंक किसी को भी अच्छा नहीं लगना चाहिए। सिर्फ देखने में ही क्रूएलिटी नहीं है। आपने देखा होगा कि जब हम चिड़ियाघर में जानवर हैं उनका व्यवहार भी बदल जाता है। वो जंगली जानवरों जैसे व्यवहार भी नहीं करते हैं। जो शेर है वो भी लगता ही नहीं कि शेर है। हाँ, लगता सब कुछ इसमें गोभी भरी हुई है और वो घूम रहे हैं वहाँ पे। पर इतना अननेचुरल बिहेवियर हो जाता है। और जू में जाकर हम क्या सिखाना चाह रहे हैं सब लोगों को कि जानवर ऐसे होते हैं? जानवर ऐसे नहीं होते हैं जैसे हम दिखा रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो तो रियलिटी है ही नहीं है।
Almost 50 million people visit zoos in India annually, so the significance of the role that they can play in establishing a bond between people and the wild world around them cannot be denied. But the question is, do zoos play this role, or are they merely centers of recreation at the cost of the animals in captivity?
अगर मैं एज अ साइंटिस्ट देखूं तो दो काम हो सकते हैं जू के, जिसके लिए हम जू पहले बनाए गए थे। पहला कि एजुकेशन, मिले सबको जानवरों के बारे में, और दूसरा जो एंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज़ है उनका कैप्टिव ब्रीडिंग हो पाए। अब एजुकेशन तो गलत ही मिल रहा है, बिल्कुल ही जू जो है वो गलत एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं। जू से अच्छा हमें एजुकेशन मिलता है नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक पे, डिस्कवरी पे, जानवरों के बारे में, और जू में कोई एजुकेशन बिल्कुल नहीं मिल रहा, गलत मिल रहा है। लोग ये सोचते हैं कि अगर हम शेर को चिढ़ा भी देंगे, पत्थर भी मार देंगे तो कुछ नहीं होता। हाँ, लोगों को ये भी नहीं पता है कि किस जानवर को क्या खिला के हम उसका गलत तो नहीं कर रहे हैं। लोगों को ये भी नहीं पता है छोटे से जानवर बंदर को, हाँ, बंदर को जब हम टीज करते हैं, वाइल्ड में करके देखे ना वो कैसे काटते हैं। तो सिर्फ एक पिंजरा क्योंकि सामने लगा होता है, तो एक तो जो जितने विजिटर्स हैं वो अपने आप को पता नहीं क्या समझने लगते हैं। तो वो ह्यूमन बिहेवियर का वर्स्ट एंगल सामने दिखता है जूज में, स्पेशली हिंदुस्तानी जूज में।
I cannot deny the thrill I get from visiting a zoo. But at the same time, I cannot deny how depressed I feel when I see large animals in small cages, sick animals, dirty enclosures, or people who tease them. There is no doubt that for many people who cannot afford to travel or go to wilderness areas, maybe the only way they will ever get to see many of the wild species is in a zoo. For a child, it's probably one of the most mandatory and most exciting outings.
I like coming to zoo because there are many animals and we come to know the nature more over here. In a city like Delhi where there's so much of pollution and hardly any nature we come across, so it's very nice when we come with the family and friends to zoos.
Zoo is short for zoological house or garden, defined as a park or institution in which living animals are kept and usually exhibited to the public. This definition says nothing about education or creating awareness. Nor does it say that zoos might be the only last stand for some animals that are being exterminated in the wild. A zoo might be the last record we have of so many species. It was not until the late 1800s that zoos became open to public. Up until then, there were menageries, collections made by wealthy people, kings and emperors to satisfy their own vanity. It is from this history that zoos were created. And by early 1900s, the welfare of the animals came into focus. It suddenly dawned on everybody that the animals too had rights, the right to life. But whether this understanding of the care for animal welfare translated into good zoos is as of yet debatable. In India, the Central Zoo Authority has established firm and tough laws for zoos to follow. The violation of any of them could lead to the closure of a zoo. Of course, the flip side to that is while the laws are strong, the implementation is very poor.
The fact is that there are certain rules that a zoo must follow. There is the recognition of zoo rules that were passed in 1992. And no zoo in India currently is following all the norms. So you have simple things like the size of the enclosures, the fact that animals cannot be kept single for over a year, the fact that there must be adequate drinking water available to the animals at all times, the fact that their enclosures must have proper enrichment, which has to simulate their natural environment, the fact that they must have a proper veterinary doctor there. These are just small, simple things that you would think every zoo should have. But currently in India, you could say that majority of the zoos do not have all of these. Some zoos, yes, are making an effort. They are trying to do enrichment and stuff. But very often you find that the enrichment is not the kind that is needed to actually help that animal.
To get the whole picture, Gargi and I travelled to several zoos across India. Our experience has been a mixed bag. Some of the zoos were extremely well maintained and were working towards increasing awareness and concern, and some were abysmal.